What you hear live on Mid-Morning yesterday, 3 people were called onto the witness stand on day 1. That is 911 dispatcher Jenna Scurry, Alicia Euler, who worked at a speedway. That's her just across the street. She shot some video on her phone. The 3rd witness was Don Williams. He's a man who saw what was happening and stopped to watch. Now, he has MMA training, which was brought up during pre-trial conversations to limit what he can testify on.
During that time period, did you notice anything about his breathing that was significant to you?
Yes, just like in MMA, you could tell when someone gets tired, or you could tell when someone's getting choked out or things like that. His breathing was getting tremendously heavy and tremendously harder for him to breathe, and you actually could hear him. You could see him struggling to actually gasp for air.
Jason is leading our coverage of the trial on CBSN Minnesota. Any surprises in those opening statements, Jason?
Not really, Shayla. We didn't get a hint from the defense as to whether or not Derek Chauvin will testify. We did learn that the state plans on calling the police chief, the training officer. They already called another city employee, the 911 dispatcher. That is interesting that they are calling police department employees, city employees to testify essentially against Derek Chauvin.
So, Jason, in addition to the witnesses we heard yesterday, of course, the opening statements in which the prosecution played pretty much in full the video of what happened to George Floyd, and then multiple times from different vantage points. We know some jurors either hadn't seen it or perhaps had seen it in a very long time.
Heather, I think all of these jurors had said during the jury questioning, where they were selected to be on the jury, that they did not see the entire video. And I know to people who have been following this case closely, that seems hard to believe, but the reality is people perhaps watched, a 30-second clip of it, or perhaps they chose to avoid it. Or we know there are many people who just read news headlines and don't necessarily click in or watch the video or watch the TV news. So from Esme Murphy, who is the pool reporter inside the courtroom, Esme told us that those jurors were transfixed, as you could imagine they would be, very carefully watching this video. So testimony that perhaps if you're watching it on TV, you're looking at the person who is on the stand and the cashier or the shift lead from the gas station across the street. You could tell she was either very nervous or a reluctant witness or whatever the case may be. But according to Esme, the jurors were transfixed by watching the video. So from that perspective, that's how they set the table yesterday.
Mm-hmm. And when they make those arguments or those opening statements, the order of the people we hear from, sometimes that's significant. Any reason why they started with 3 regular people instead of a BCA investigator? Yeah,
I talked with Joe Tamburino about this yesterday because at first it was a little puzzling. Why not have that, like you said, Shayla, that BCA investigator up and tell the whole story of what happened and then dig in? But this did something, I think by the end of the day, you sort of got this sense that if a 911 dispatcher, a person working at a gas station, a former semi-pro boxer, all saw what was happening with their own eyes and from their different perspectives were like, hey, why isn't this officer stopping? I think it does set the table of saying, okay, we're going to hear a lot of expert testimony. But as they said in the opening statements, you can believe your eyes. That certainly was the message of the first day.
So what do we have on tap this morning, Jason?
Donald Williams will be back on the stand. His testimony was interrupted at the end of the day yesterday because the video feed from the courtroom was cut off in some parts of the courtroom and in some parts of the media center. They stopped around 4:30 the planned time anyway, but he'll be back on the stand. And prosecutors said when Donald Williams was up, they did introduce that video that we all saw the day after George Floyd's death. That does indicate that the young woman who took that video will be on the stand today as well.
All right, Jason, thanks so much. We'll be checking in with you. As you mentioned, we can see Jason anchoring our gavel-to-gavel coverage on CBS and Minnesota each day. That testimony is expected to start at 9:30. So go ahead, hold your phone's camera up to that code, that QR code that's right there on your screen. You can download our free app. It's the easiest way to watch everything that happens live inside and outside the court. You can also get additional context and alerts about what would happen next.
Outside the courthouse, protesters spent the day demanding justice and police accountability. Feelings of anger were mixed with a sense of loss of Floyd's life as well as others killed by police. Dozens of padlocks were fastened to security fencing downtown, each with the name of a victim. For many protesters, seeing the video of Floyd's death during opening statements was the first time they'd watched it since last summer.
I think for myself and a lot of the other families, it's traumatizing.
You don't forget about it, you still remember, but those emotions that we felt last year when it first happened, it was like it all just came back.
The protesters began their march through downtown. They left behind a full-size casket in the middle of the street that had written on it in part, quote, "For all who weren't filmed, who didn't get a national uprising, you deserve it all."
So one woman is making sure that people don't miss her group's feelings about justice during the trial. Kaya Hurt of Good Trouble for Justice chained herself to the fence that's surrounding the Hennepin County Government Center. The group is also placing padlocks on the fence. Each lock has the name of a victim of police violence written on it. Hurt says we all need to care about others even when we're not personally affected.
We won't see justice until the people who are unaffected are as enraged about injustice as the people who are affected.
So the group says it plans to hold the space until their demands are met.